सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। In this 18th chapter, in the beginning, in response to a question by Arjuna, Lord Krishna is explaining the true meaning of what is meant by sannyasa or renunciation. In the third verse, Lord Krishna said, Nischayam Shuname Tatra Tyage Bharata Sattama. Here Arjuna understands that Tyaga or renunciation is said to be threefold. Of them, Lord Krishna makes it very clear what is it that is not to be given up. Sannyasa or Tyaga means renunciation, meaning giving up something. What is to be given up? Now, Arjuna, as we understand the beginning of the battle itself, was ready to renounce. Arjuna declared, now you would say, I will not fight this battle. Meaning that he was ready to renounce the karma, the action, the duty. Therefore, renunciation is a very important issue in the Bhagavad Gita. Because this need for the teaching of Bhagavad Gita arose because Arjuna wanted to renounce. And there is a fascination for renunciation in the Vedic culture. Because renunciates are seen to be very quiet, cheerful people. So it may appear that it is by giving up the responsibility that these people are what they look like. Not only that, but when you renounce your duties, responsibilities, then Arjuna also thought that then I can apply my mind to meditation and pursuit of knowledge. So when can I pursue the knowledge? When can I contemplate? When can I meditate? When I have no other demands on me, no other pressure on me, that is understandable. For contemplation, for meditation, you do require a leisure of mind. You do require a situation where there are no demands or expectations from you that you have to do this and you. So in a life of a householder, there are many things to be done. Not only that, but as you would say, Swamiji, this bell rings, the milkman has come, other bell rings, the newspaper man has come, third bell rings, third time it rings, vegetable vendor has come. So bells keep on ringing, telephones keep on ringing and all. So much disturbance is there when in a life of a householder. It's a busy life. So I start, Swamiji, listening to the class, I start studying and this constant disturbance is going on. So it's true that when you're living a life where there are duties and responsibilities, there are lots of distractions. By that, lots of demands, let me say. It is difficult to find a quiet time when you can sit and contemplate. Therefore, the life of a sannyasi, one who is free from all responsibilities, commitments, demands, now that person has time for himself. Therefore, it should be very convenient to apply one's mind to the contemplation, meditation, pursuit of knowledge, shravanam, listening, contemplating. So Arjuna wants now to pursue knowledge. His love for knowledge arose because of his dislike for the battle, the karma that was in front of him. His love for renunciation was because of his aversion for karma, therefore, it was an unpleasant result. So Lord Krishna wants to say here, look, simply by giving up your responsibilities or duties, you should not expect that you will have a quiet mind. Mind does get disturbed because of the demands from outside. But even if there are no demands and there are no duties, simply absence of duties or responsibilities or external demands does not mean that you will enjoy a quiet mind. There may be disturbances or distractions from outside in terms of demands on me as to what I should be doing. But more than that, there are disturbances from within. And so in the third chapter, Lord Krishna said that a person is not able to sit quietly even for a moment because he is helplessly made to act on account of the restlessness that is within himself, there is a discontentment, dissatisfaction within myself, and therefore I am not comfortable with myself. An ordinary person is not comfortable with himself or herself, and therefore, even though there may not be any external demands, he is left to himself to do whatever he wants. Still, the restlessness in his own mind, the dissatisfaction, the demands, the needs, the emotional needs, other various kinds of needs, they surface on his mind and make his mind restless. So it is not that just because I have time to myself and that there are no duties or demands on me that I can necessarily enjoy a quiet mind. In fact, a person can get crazy if left to himself, nothing to do. So Lord Krishna said, this renunciation of action can be beneficial, can help you to accomplish what you want to accomplish in terms of pursuit of knowledge, thinking, contemplation, provided you have made your mind free from the internal disturbances also. Then, what is the appropriate time for giving up the karma duties? Well, Bhagavan, let me give up all my duties and then I will address my mind and I will then make my mind quiet. So that's not possible. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna teaches that it is karma or duty which is an excellent means of quietening the mind. Can you imagine that? In fact, karma should bring about disturbance, is it not so? Because I am supposed to be thinking of various things and doing. Lord Krishna says, it's not so much karma that produces disturbance or otherwise. But performing karma or duty, performing action becomes an opportunity for me to maintain right kind of attitude. The reason why so many disturbances have accumulated in my mind, the reason why I am not to enjoy a quietude of mind even though I have all the time to myself, is because all these disturbances have been accumulated on account of wrong attitudes, wrong understanding and wrong attitudes in life. Therefore, Lord Krishna prescribes the means of the right values and right attitudes for quietening the mind. The means of quietening the mind is called yoga. Yoga is known to be the means of gaining a control or mastery over the mind. Here, Lord Krishna prescribes how karma or action, which we are required to do to live our life and fulfill the responsibilities, how that ordinary day-to-day action, nothing special, even the day-to-day ordinary action also can become the means of progressively gaining quietude of mind if the actions are performed with right attitudes. And we discussed that. That in action, two aspects are involved. One is performing action, other is the result or outcome of the action. Therefore, Lord Krishna prescribes one, the right attitude towards action, and 2, the right attitude towards outcome of the action, called karma phala. Phalam means result. Karma phala is the result of action. So karma and karma phala, action and the result, effort and outcome. So these are the 2 things involved when we are active, when we perform actions. Unfortunately, more often than not, we have a wrong attitude towards both of them. While performing karma, I very often am proud that I am doing this, it is my doing. It is my skill, my ability, my intellect, my creation. Swami, I am a self-made man. Puja Swami was very fond of saying this. Somebody says, I am a self-made man. Swami asks, who made you? So this kind of pride or arrogance arising out of ignorance, of not knowing, as we discussed it yesterday, as to how whatever I think belongs to me is all given to me. And therefore, when we think of the realities of life, it is not the pride or arrogance that will arise in my mind. An intelligent person will recognize how these are given to me, and that understanding will give rise to humility. Pride or arrogance is a result of non-thinking, wrong thinking. Right thinking, recognizing the reality of life, will make me an humble person. So performing karma with humility, not with arrogance or pride. Also humility, because I recognize what is all given to me, therefore there is also a sense of gratitude. When I recognize what all is given to me and continues to be given to me, not only the body, mind, sense organs are given to me, but now also the ability to think, ability to know, ability to act, all of this is because I am enjoying the support of the rest of the universe. My eyes can see only when I enjoy the grace of Surya, sun. Thus they explain that for every organ of perception and action, there are presiding devatas whose grace makes it possible for those things to function. Although the hand goes like this, doesn't come down, goes down and doesn't come up, because there is a presiding devata who blesses my hand, Indra devata. The Agni devata, the fire god, by his blessing I enjoy this organ of speech. Speaking is possible by his grace. Lord Vishnu is the presiding deity of the motion, therefore motion is possible by his grace. You may think this is all superstition. Maybe. But at least if we see whatever scriptures reveal, we realize that all of this involves cooperation from the rest of the creation. Someday scientists will find out. Today this is not a matter of science, meaning that we cannot directly have a cause and effect relationship with what Surya does. But maybe sun is very evident, that we can see because of the light provided by him. As far as other devatas are concerned, it may not be evident, therefore there may not be a visible cause-effect relationship. So it may sound like superstition. So do you believe in superstition? I said, there is no superstition. Something called superstition when we do not know the cause and effect relationship. That doesn't mean that everything is right, but then what the scripture says is not superstition. So we accept it in Shraddha, in trust. Anyway, so thus an intelligent person thinks and recognizes how I have been blessed by so much grace in being given this body, mind, sense complex and the abilities. How I continue to be blessed by the various forces and elements of universe, of nature. And therefore, I just happen to be a recipient, a facilitator, of all of this, and I'm happy that I enjoy that place. So there is humility and sense of gratitude while performing action. That's attitude. And as we said yesterday, inasmuch as action is performed with the help of the entities that are all given to me, the result of action also doesn't belong to me. That is also belongs to the one who has given this. So everything belongs to Ishvara. Coming to think of it, that something belongs to me, it just shows ignorance. Therefore, the attitude towards the outcome is that outcome belongs to Ishvara. I don't have the ownership. Then what belongs to me, Swami? The grace belongs to you. So if you continue to do right things, you continue to acquire grace, and that's how things have been going on, things will continue to go on. But this is all the attitude of a bhakta. Bhakta means a devotee of the Lord, means an intelligent person, I should say. When we hear the word bhakta or devotee, we think of somebody who is lost or who is superstitious or just... No, an intelligent person who recognizes the scheme of things. And then, would we not have reverence for the one who is doing all this for us without even asking? When the child comes home from the school, he finds that there is all, the sandwich is ready in the refrigerator and a glass of milk is ready, and then he thinks it comes from the refrigerator or something, he may think. When he grows up, then he finds that how my mother silently was doing all this for me. So Ishvara is silently doing all this for us. The recognition of the just reality of life, not superstition, not imagination. So this understanding of the reality of life, understanding of my place in scheme of things, gives rise to the right attitudes, which are based on the prevailing realities, not imagination. And that brings a harmony between me and the scheme of things and the order that exists in the universe. Thus, by these attitudes, I progressively acquire a harmony with the prevailing order. Right now, all the conflicts in my mind and all kinds of sorrow, etc., is a result of the disharmony with the existing order. When I feel unhappy, I feel sad, all of this shows that I am out of harmony with the order. So this is to bring me or my mind in harmony. That's how quietening of the mind. So karma becomes yoga, karma becomes a means of mastering the mind in this manner. So it's called karma yoga. So Lord Krishna says, it is not simply by giving up the action that you grow, it is by performing action in the right attitude that you grow. It is not that you acquire quietude of mind by giving up the action, thinking that it is a disturbance, which it may be, but then performing action with the right attitude, it becomes a great asset or blessing to you, and progressively results into quietude of mind, which Vedanta calls Antaka Shuddhi, purification of mind. Quietude of mind. Mind becoming free from this inner restlessness, inner demands called raga dveshas, attachments and aversions. When thus karma has done its job, so purpose of karma, to perform with the right attitude, is to bring about this tranquility of mind. When I am comfortable with myself, When I don't have to run away from myself. Today I have to run away from myself. You leave me alone, I can't sit even for a minute. I have to open my iPhone and start with WhatsApp, some kind of applications, some social media. I have to keep myself engaged. Don't distract. Self-escape, distractions. But then I become comfortable with myself, happy with myself. That is when you can enjoy solitude. Solitude means being with myself. And when can that solitude become a blessing? When I can enjoy myself. Right now I need millions of things to enjoy, other than myself. Myself is the last thing that I enjoy. But this process brings about that tranquility, quietude, harmony, by which I am comfortable with myself. I am content with myself. I am happy with myself. And therefore I become free from all needs. The needs that I have are all emotional needs. There may be some physical needs for appeasing hunger and thirst. The rest are all emotional needs. All created needs. Arising from restlessness. When that quiet, then I become free from needs. Then I may need, food to appease my hunger, etc. Therefore, in the Vedic culture, when a person has achieved what is called this maturity, purity of mind, maturity of mind, that is when you are now ready to give up the duties, because they have done their job. They need not continue if you don't have to, if you don't want to. Because then that karma will create distraction in a tranquil mind. See, when you are cooking rice, then it's done on fire. But you must switch on the fire when the fire has done its job. Otherwise, if you continue, then it will burn the rice. So also karma is meant to make the mind quiet, tranquil, content, happy. And then in which the value for knowledge arises automatically as the mind becomes sattvic or quiet, then there is a value for knowledge, then desire for knowledge. As the composition of my mind changes, my desires also change. When the mind has predominance of rajas, then there is desire for enjoyment, going, getting, doing various things. That is rajas. Tamas, I want to sleep. I don't want to do anything. I want to drop out. Rajas, I want to enjoy. Sattva, I am happy with myself. Therefore, this person enjoying that tranquility essentially becomes free from needs. Therefore, he can now renounce. And there is provision in the Vedas that this person now is permitted to beg food. He can be officially a beggar. That's called a bhikshu. Bhikshu means a beggar. Bhiksha means begging. He is permitted to beg food. And the society respects that. So when a mendicant comes before, in front of our home, we happily give him food if possible. So society also considered it to be it's their privilege and privilege to support these people, so that he doesn't have to waste his time in acquiring various things and cooking and stuff like that. That basic need is provided by society. So he has now rest of the time for himself to pursue what he wants to. That's called sannyasa. The second level of sannyasa, first level of sannyasa was he was renouncing ragadvesha, attachment and aversions, by performing karma with the right attitudes. Second level of sannyasa is now karma has done the job. Now he has a strong desire for knowledge. Therefore, he can now adopt a way of life which is conducive for pursuing knowledge, which is called sannyasa. Vividisha sannyasa. Vividisha, desire to know. Sannyasa, adopted, taken for desire, for fulfilling desire for knowledge. Second level of sannyasa. And then, as a result of this pursuit of knowledge at the feet of the teacher, when he gains the knowledge of the self, he discovers that I am limitless, I'm complete, I'm full, complete, limitless. I always was. I never recognized it. Knowledge means recognition of what is. Nothing new is created. Experience is creating something which is not there. Knowledge is understanding what is. You follow scientists always pursue knowledge because phenomena is right in front of them, isn't it? Then apple falls. Knowledge to understand that phenomenon. So also I am there. The world is there. Ishvara is there. To understand them is called knowledge. And fortunately I happen to be limitless. Ishvara also is limitless. The world also is limitless. What is limitless? This is what Vedanta teaches. Purnameva avashishyate. What is Purnam? Or limitless, or whole and full. This is the reality of life. Where everything looks, it is all limited. But at the root of everything is wholeness and completeness. Perhaps no other scripture reveals this as clearly as Vedanta does. You may find statement here and there, stray statement. Fiber also says, and this one, maybe some statement here and some statement there. But Vedanta, this is the theme of all the Upanishads. And this theme is unfolded very beautifully so that teacher can communicate and the student can understand. So basically, teacher enables me to see what the true nature of myself, not that it is created, I happen to be limitless. And Ishvara is limitless and world, everything is limitless. It is something to be seen. But Swami, I see all limited things, all limited. How do you say that is limitless? So there Vedanta says, Yet chakshusha pashyati yena chakshumshi pashyati. Yen manasa namanute yena manaha matam yena. That which cannot be seen, but that because of which one sees. Remember, understand. That which is not heard, but that because of which hearing takes place. That which is not the object of thinking, that is because of which thinking takes place. No, our attention is shifted. Normally we are always looking out there, searching for reality. Now our attention is shifted by the Upanishad. You are the reality. So this is what the Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita teaches us. It's not overnight thing, it takes its own time. As a result of the sincere pursuit of knowledge for a length of time, it can even stretch for a number of lifetimes. When indeed this knowledge takes place that I am limitless and you are limitless, what is limitless? Because there are many waves, but water is one, understand? Just because there is many does not mean reality is many. Waves are many, but reality is water, that is one. The ornaments are many, but then the gold is one. And so many waves are there here. Each one of us is like a wave, but the content is water. Consciousness, the limitless. So it is not that I discover I am limitless and you are all limited. That is not knowledge. That I am Brahman and you are all stupid. No, that is not knowledge. I am Brahman, you are also Brahman. I am limitless, you are also limitless. What is limitless? in discovery of this, then nothing remains to be done. This is the culmination of all the pursuit. Then I realized that I always was liberated, I always was free. Not that freedom has happened. I recognize that freedom has been my nature. Therefore, a wise person does not need to do anything to be free because freedom is a nature. The bondage was a notion because of ignorance. When that is gone, then he will say, freedom is my nature. Where is Swami? Where is limitless is your nature? You are limited in every way. A wise person is limitless. That means what is it? It means that he continues to, we'll discuss that. He continues to have body mind because that doesn't limit. The body mind limit me when I am identified with them, otherwise by myself I am the consciousness that is limitless. Then that freedom is called ultimate sannyasa. Because all ignorance is given up, all notions are given up. I become free from all notions or ignorance, and that is the final sannyasa or renunciation. That is renunciation of ignorance. Therefore, this knowledge or abidance in the knowledge of my true self is the ultimate sannyasa. That sannyasa doesn't have a form. This sannyasa taken for knowledge has a form, it has a lifestyle. But the final sannyasa is called vidvat sannyasa. Sannyasa, renunciation by virtue of knowledge. Atma is ever free, I am ever free, and that is sannyasi. To recognize that knowledge is the ultimate sannyasa. That is the sannyasa which is being taught in the Bhagavad Gita. So sannyasa is lifetime is a means, and sannyasa as karma yoga is also means leading to the ultimate sannyasa. So this is what Lord Krishna teaches Arjuna. What Arjuna understand what sannyasa is. Not running away from your post of duty, not dropping out from what you are required from a challenge or not simply folding your hands and not doing something. It's not sannyasa. Sannyasa ultimately is the knowledge for which we require the secondary sannyasa in terms of giving up all raga, dvesha, impurities. So then Arjuna understood, Karishye vachan, now I know what it is. I'll do what you tell me to do. So the Bhagavad Gita, the need for teaching of Bhagavad Gita arose because Arjuna wanted to renounce. Or what he thought was renunciation. Therefore, Lord Krishna teaches what is the true renunciation. Ultimately, true renunciation, not an action, it is the knowledge of myself, for which action becomes a means by creating a conducive state of mind when knowledge can take place. You see, any knowledge requires preparation. Is it not so? Our Swami would say, this fellow wants to learn calculus. And he calls a professor, he has that. And professor asks him, what is 5 plus 4? He says 10. So when you don't have this, how are you going to learn calculus? Meaning that for learning any you need preparation. So for this knowledge, here the preparation is in terms of the maturity of mind or purity of mind or tranquility of mind, which requires an intelligent way of living called karma yoga. It's living intelligently. What is called karma yoga is living intelligently. What is intelligently? Living in harmony with the prevailing order. There is a moral order, there is a spiritual order. Living in harmony, that is intelligent living. Otherwise we keep on violating the order and thus we suffer from many conflicts and sorrow. Therefore, Lord Krishna said, we read the fourth verse, Yajnadana tapah karma na tyajyam karyameva. Arjuna, right now, for you, your duty called yajna, dana, tapaha. We concluded yesterday's discussion with this. Yajna means worship should be there. Dana means charity should be there. Tapaha, austerity should be there. That should not be given up. Why is it so? Pavanani mani, because these are the actions which are the means of purification of mind. By purification we mean freedom from the impulses of anger, greed, attachment, aversion. As long as those impulses are there, they do not allow me to remain quiet. Those impulses within me do not allow me to sit quietly. And therefore, to sit quietly and contemplate, we have to make the mind free from those impulses for which yajna, dana, tapaha, meaning our duty is the means. Therefore, Lord Krishna teaches the sannyasa while performing action. Sannyasa while performing action, sannyasa by giving up action, and sannyasa by giving up ignorance. Giving up is involved. So what is sannyasa while performing action? Our Puja Swami used to say that freedom, not freedom from action, freedom in action. Freedom from action is one thing, we have given up action. Freedom in action, while performing action, how to enjoy the freedom and how that performing action can become the means of freedom. So let us go to the page 4, verse number 5. I will recite, you please repeat after me. Karyamityeva yat karma niyatam kriyate arjuna sangam tyaktva phalam chaiva satyagas satviko matah. So tyaga means something is to be renounced. Arjuna was really renounced karma, thinking that karma binds. Lord Krishna says karma does not bind, action doesn't bind. What binds? Second line says, Sangam tyaktva phalam chaiva. While performing the sangha, this kind of asakti, or this notion that I am doing this, phalam chaiva, and the notion that this phala or the result belongs to me. So while performing action, an ignorant person is, I am doing this, and when the result comes, this result belongs to me. Now when result belongs to me, when I take the ownership of outcome, then the outcome is either successful or a failure. When action is performed, the outcome can be in keeping with my expectation, which I call success, or it may be failure. Success, I respond with harsha, elation. Failure, I respond with depression. So normally, for an ordinary person, the outcome of an action creates a reaction of elation or depression. Elation also is the only ground for depression, by the way. Because the elation is not my job, it happens to me. That elation happens. If I deliberately become happy is a different thing, but this is all reaction. When the outcome is what I call success, I react with elation. So then also I am not in my control, mind is not in my control. So how can I greet the outcome with a tranquil mind? How can I greet? Outcome is, every situation is an outcome of some action. So how can I greet a situation? My life brings situations, from time to time, all the time. How can I maintain a tranquility of the mind? Because sometimes situations are pleasant, sometimes unpleasant, sometimes favorable, sometimes unfavorable. That's the nature of life. If we always had favorable situation, no problem, we don't need Gita. If there are only unfavorable situation, then also we can get used to that. People get used to any kind of miserable situation. We can go to a country like India and see how people are living, what misery. They get used to that. There's nothing. Living in some kind of hut mind where water is so far away and there is so much hardship. But people get, if hardship is constant, you get used to that. But hardship now, and then all of a sudden luxury, then hardship, then luxury, that is when you get worn out. So life is like that. It brings before us these pairs of opposites, now pleasant, unpleasant, success, failure, desirable, undesirable. We keep on reacting, and that's how we get worn out. So first lesson is how to maintain the sameness of the mind. Samatvam yoga uchyate, Lord Krishna says, sameness of the mind. Tranquility of the mind is called yoga. When we confront these different situations, how do we maintain the tranquility of mind? Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Siddhi means success. Asiddhi means failure. Siddhya siddhyo, in success and failure. Samo bhutva, have the sameness of the mind. How can you have sameness of mind, Swamiji? Success is success, failure is failure. How are they the same? They are not the same, they are opposed to each other, but the source from where they come is the same. What comes before me is not the same, it's constantly changing. But the source from where they come is one. If I have this Shraddha that it's all given by Ishvara, I perform the action and he gives the result. This is a partnership going on in our life. With Jivatma and Ishvara. Like playing tennis, singles. I make a shot, he returns. Ishvara. But he's not my enemy, but he's my coach. Ishvara is the coach and he wants to train me. He's my well-wisher, wants to train me. But well-wisher doesn't mean that he will only give all favorable shots, then I will never grow and never learn. A good coach will make me run around so that I grow. So Ishvara is on the other side of the court. I perform an action. He gives result. Sometimes he favors me, so the shot comes where I am and I can return easily, and sometimes he makes me run around. But if I trust that he is my coach, then I won't complain, I won't say, why me, why me? I know the reason is that he wants to train me. Thus, if you have this trust, the Ishvara is giving rise to the result of the action. I perform the action and Bhagavan gives rise to the result. The nature, the laws of nature. And that Ishvara is benevolent, that he wishes well of me, even in what looks like unpleasant situation or punishment, there also it is only a blessing in disguise. It is a matter of my Shraddha. If I have this Shraddha or trust in Ishvara, in the scheme of things, then I will not be disappointed if things do not turn out to be favorable. I know that there is reason there also. Child has trust in mother, then the child will take the bitter medicine also because he knows that mom means well of me. Medicine can be bitter and sometimes required. If child does not understand, he may complain and then I hate you, mom, why are you giving this kind of medicine? But then, if there is a trust, then we know that that is also meant for my good health. So that is called a bhakta, a devotee, who has this attitude. Therefore, he does not react to what comes before him. He responds to where it comes from. It comes from Ishvara. That shot comes from there. Although it is in the other end of the court, and he runs around, I have to run around, I'm perspiring, I'm tired and exhausted, but still, I know that he is a coach and the purpose is to train me. He is my well-wisher. I don't react. That's how I grow. So Karma Yogi is a bhakta of each Bhagavan. So whatever outcome comes, he accepts happily this way. That outcome is coming from Ishvara, is meant for my well-being. Even though I may not immediately see the benefit, I know that it may be short-term pain, long-term gain. Bhagavan can give pain also. Short-term pain, long-term gain. That trust a bhakta has. And therefore, he happily accepts whatever outcome comes, whatever situation comes before him. That's how a bhakta or a karma yogi maintains samatvam, sameness of the mind. Failure and success are not the same, but where they come from is the same, and both of them are his prasada, his grace, meant to help me grow and become happy. Samatvam yoga uchyate. So this is attitude towards the outcome. That makes his life, makes him a yogi or a bhakta of Ishvara. Therefore, this verse says, this karma yogi, he performs action, karyam, this is my duty, this is what I have to do, I have to contribute. Because I am a recipient of favor, therefore I must return the favor. I have become a contributor, karyam, I have to do this. So whenever any opportunity arises when I am required to do, I say, I must do this. This is for my well-being. Niyatam kriyate Arjuna. A karma is performed that is meant for me, which is the right kind of action in a given situation. So karma yoga means doing what is right, not necessarily what I like. I may not like what is right, but I do it anyway. I run around, I may not like it, I wish that all shots should come to me, but no, I run and try to return the shot. Karyamityeva yat karma niyatam kriyate Arjuna. Hey Arjuna, this karma yogi performs action with attitude that this is what I should do. This is my duty, this is meant for this is my opportunity to make my contribution. A karma yogi looks upon every action as an opportunity to contribute. Whatever little I have in terms of skill, whatever I have, I contribute. I'm happy. So for a karma yogi, every karma is an opportunity to contribute. Whatever little I can contribute. His satisfaction comes from this act of contribution. For a karma yogi, every act is a contribution. That's called niyatam karma. A karma which is meant for me, which is the right karma, which I should perform with the right attitude. Second line says, sangam tyaktva phalam chaiva. While performing that karma also, I don't know that pride. I am humble. I know that it is a privilege that I can perform an action. Only human being has this privilege. Nobody has that privilege to perform this kind of actions. Rest of nature, it just works out of instinct only. They don't have freedom to do something or not. The human being is a privilege to perform an action, a deliberate action. By action we mean a deliberate action. And deliberate in every situation, do what is right. My judgment could be wrong, I can make a mistake, I can learn. It's not that I have to be right, but I should be deliberate and I should have right intention. Sangam tyaktva phalam chaiva, and I give up all my pride, I do with humility, phalam chaiva, give the ownership of the phala also, outcome also. Satyagaha, this is a tyaga, this is called renunciation, sattvika renunciation, the desirable renunciation. Arjuna was willing to give up karma because it was too painful. That is not sattvik tyaga. It's too painful, man. God, Lord, let me give it up. No. Running away from karma is not renunciation of karma. This fellow would come home every evening and, generally speaking, his wife was quite cooperative and should make tea for him and welcome him. But when he came early today, she was busy and he says, he waited for 10 minutes, where is my tea? Make your tea. He was in a different mood. He says, what? You can't even make a cup of tea for me? I'm sorry, I'm busy. Well, this place is not for me. I want to get away from here. I will leave this home. Left. Renunciate. Goes to Rishikesh. Goes to an ashram. And goes to Swamiji. Come here. For what? For meditation. Wonderful. So Swamiji calls a sevak and says, give me a nice room here on the bank of, overlooking Ganga. Give him the room. Comes back. But then, how long should I meditate? For 15 minutes. Okay? Again comes, but what should I meditate upon? Who was the one that you saw last when you left? My wife. You meditate on anything other than your wife. Comes back in 3 minutes. That's all that comes in my mind. So better go home. So satyaga, so that giving up the action is not renunciation. Giving action is like mango fruit or you squeeze the juice and then throw away the peel, etc. In sugar cane, squeeze the juice and then throw away. You can't throw the whole sugar cane. That's not renunciation. He renounces baby along with bath water. That's not renunciation. So this is the karma yogi who is renunciate, called an exalted renunciate, who renounces all the arrogance, who renounces all the ownership, and who functions as a very humble servant of the Lord, who has made his life a contribution that requires a lot of renunciation of my normal tendencies. So this is the tyaga, renunciation that Lord Krishna wants Arjuna to do. But why can't I renounce the action, O Lord? So, next verse says, Nahi deha bhrata shakyam tyaktum karmanya sheshatah yastu karma phalatyagi satyagitya vidhiyate. So Lord Krishna says, Arjuna, you should first become tyagi of this nature. Ultimately, one has to become tyagi where he renounces whole ignorance, everything is given up and he abides in himself. That's the ultimate tyaga. Where the identification is all given up. Before that, he renounces karma. Before that, he renounces attachments. So this is told to Arjuna. Satyagi iti abhidhiyate. Here Arjuna, that is called the tyagi, that is called the renunciate. Karma phala tyagi, one who gives up ownership to karma, for karma phala. One who gives up the pride in karma and gives up the ownership of karma phala, he is the real tyagi. Arjuna, you want to give up the action, you cannot give up even if you want. Don't think that simply by leaving this battlefield that you will become a renunciate and you think that you will go to forest and then quietly meditate. Not possible. The renunciation does not happen simply by giving up some action or running away from a situation, because your mind will not permit you to be quiet. So first line says, Nahi dehe vrata shakyam tyaktum karmani asheshatah. Here Arjuna, as long as you have strong attachment towards your body, mind, etc., and I am so and so, that kind of attachment is there, that kind of notion is there, that kind of ego is there, sense of individuality is there. So long it is not possible to give up action even if you want. Because your own mind will not permit you to stay inactive. As we just said earlier, your own mind, in which there are these unfulfilled desires, there are so many hurts and guilts, so many impulses all stored inside, and if you deal with them, if you get rid of all of the impurity, until then you cannot enjoy quietude. So Deha means one identified with the body, meaning that because of that identification, strong identity with the body, then it brings about also the attachment, ahankara, mamakara, attachment, aversion, hurt, guilt, all kinds of conflicts and reactions and impulses are there within. So by Deha means one who is identified with the body, who possesses these ragadveshas, who has a strong sense of doership that I am doing it, who therefore has hurt and guilt. Because when I say I am doing, when I am karta, and I am bhokta, I am the experiencer. In the person who does action, or thinks that he does action, there is all the possibility of guilt. Because when I perform the action, when I find myself doing something that is not right, I said something that was not right, I did something that was not right, when I see that, there is a sense of guilt in me. I realize that I have done something wrong. Guilt. Then when you do something to me which I think is not right, then there is hurt. So one who has strong identification, who has a sense of strong individuality, what we call ego, ahankara, he thinks that I am the doer of action and I am the experience of a result, is my result. That person is going to have hurt and guilt. Therefore, as long as hurts and guilts are there in you, Arjuna, these various impulses are there, this kama krodha is there, raga dveshas are there, attachment, aversions are there, it is not possible for you to sit quietly. It is not possible to give up the action. Even if you give it outwardly, inwardly your mind will keep doing something. Third chapter, Lord Krishna does say that one who has given up all the action, all right, and meditating, he does not meditate upon God, he meditates upon when the next meal is going to come, he meditates upon what the next movie is on Friday, that's what he meditates upon. Like that our friend who left home. So simply by closing the eyes, You don't meditate. Nahi dehi vrata shakyam tyaktum karmani asheshata. As long as you have the strong reactions piled up in you, so long, even if you want, you cannot remain free from activity. You may not do activity which you should do, then you do something wrong anyway, because your mind will force you to do things. It is restless, and that restlessness is always seeking its expression through action. Therefore, Arjuna, no, don't renounce action just to karma phalatyagi, which you already discussed, that you renounce the notion that this is my karma, you renounce the notion that this is my phala. While performing karma, recognize that I am the obedient nimit servant of Ishvara. While a result comes, recognize that this result belongs to Ishvara. He is real tyagi, satyagi iti abhidhiyate. So not one who is given up karma immaturely. We are not saying karma should not be given up. Anything can be given up when that maturity comes. Until then you should not give up. I suffered a fracture in my leg and then some surgery is done and now this, the walker is given to me. I renounce my walker. You can't renounce it. You can renounce only when you gain enough strength in your legs. Is it not so? So karma is to perform until you get the strength in your mind. Then you can give up the crutches. I cannot give up the crutch unless I have developed the strength within me. So Arjuna, you cannot walk right now and you are giving up these crutches. No. Perform the karma to gain inner strength, inner purity. Therefore, one who performs karma, all right, but gives up all the binding element, the karma does not bind. This notion, this pride that I am doing it and that this is my result, these are the kind of notions that are binding, that restrain me. So perform the karma as a means of self-growth while giving up these binding elements. Satyagi iti abhidhiyate. He is called a tyagi, he is called a renunciate. Not one who renounced karma, who renounced the binding elements in the karma, which is what? That this is I am doing this. Oh, this is my result. So that is what is to be given up. Then Lord Krishna proceeds to explain to us also the anatomy of how karma gets performed. So we can understand something more detail. Ultimately, Lord Krishna wants to say, Arjuna, you are not performing karma. Atma does not perform karma. Although right now I think I am performing karma, but I, meaning Atma, does not perform karma. Who performs karma? Next verse, Lord Krishna describes that. Adhishthānam tatha karta karanam ca prithak vidham vidāsca prithak cheshtāha daivam caivātra pancamam. And we read the next verse also. Shariravaṅ manobhiryata karma prarabhate naraha nyāyam vā viparitam vā panchaite tasya hetavah. So let us first look at this verse. Sharira vāṅ manobhiyat karma prarabhate naraha. Naraha, a human being, a person. Prarabhate undertakes karma, the action. A person who undertakes action, like you and I. Action is performed at three levels. Sarira, Vak, Manaha. Action is performed at the level of body and performed at the level of speech or performed at the level of mind. So when I perform action at the level of body, mind is involved. When I perform action at the level of speech like speaking or talking, then also mind is involved. Or I may be performing simply action at the level of mind, like meditation or simply just thinking. So Lord Krishna says that a human being performs actions at one or more of these three levels: Sharira, Vak, Manaha. The body, the speech and the mind. Simple thing. Prarabhate naraha, a naraha human being, when he undertakes an action either at the level of body or the speech or the mind, nyayam va viparitam va, even nyayam meaning that it may be righteous action, nyaya, in keeping nyaya, in keeping a rule, in keeping an order, in keeping moral order. So, an action performed in keeping with moral order is called righteous action. It's called dharma. It's called righteous action or punya karma. Call it punya karma, virtuous action, righteous action. A karma, nyayam. Nyaya means rule or order. An action performed in keeping with order. Which order? A moral order. The unseen moral order that really governs the whole universe. That's what maintains harmony in the universe, and therefore it's only appropriate that I also remain in harmony with the order, and therefore there are moral values that we are taught. When we perform actions in keeping moral values, then we maintain that moral, we are in harmony with the moral order. It's called nyayam action, righteous action, punya karma, virtuous action, morally right action. Viparitam va, two kinds of action we can perform, righteous or unrighteous. So we perform other actions also. Sometimes we say things that are contrary to order also. Like I may say words that may hurt you. I may do things that also may hurt. So violent actions are all in opposition or contrary to order. So two kinds of actions we can perform. Nyayam va, viparitam va, righteous or unrighteous. And these two kinds of action can be performed at the three levels, at the level of body, or the speech, or the mind. So this verse takes into account all the actions that are performed by us. Now who performs that action? This is the previous verses. Right. Adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha prathak vidham vidasya prathak cheshtaha devam chaivatra panchamam. This is anatomy of an action. Who performs action? Adhishthanam, he explained as body, because body is the seat of all activities. It is also the seat or the dwelling place for the mind and sense organs and everything. So it's called adhishthanam, body. Karta, the ego, the doer. Karanam, various sense organs. For performing like act of speaking, I need the sense organ called the organ of speech. For you to perform the act of listening, you require the sense organ called the organ of hearing. So, every action involves either organ of perception and or organ of action. And these all organs have their seat in the body, so body also is required. Because when you are sleeping, you don't perform any action. And even though these things are there, action takes place when I perform the action. Otherwise, nothing happens. There must be a speaker to for act of speaking to take place. Sometimes we are sitting on you go to the platform to speak, and then so Puja Swami was describing one's experience that once he went to attend a talk by Swami, another Swami. The Swami came and just came to the stage and just stood there. Would not say anything. So then the organizer requested this Swami, you please say something. But why? Because, there is got the starting trouble. Come on, sing. Singing does not take place unless the singer arises. We tell the child, come on, eat. Doesn't eat because the eater doesn't arise. You follow? When can act of eating take place? When the eater is there. When can speaking take place? When speaker is there. When can any action take place? When the agent of action is there, called karta means agent of action. So speaker is the agent of act of speaking. Hearer is the agent of act of hearing. Eater is the agent of action of eating, and so forth. So even though all infrastructure is there, body is there, sense organs, everything is there, but unless there is someone to use them, the action doesn't take place. So karta, the performer of action. Vidasa prasak cheshta, karanam means various sense organs, and sense organs also must become active. Not only organ of speech, but organ of speech must become active. So Vividasa prasak cheshtaha, various activities that take place at the level of organs of action and perception. Legs are there, but cheshta must be there, movement must be there, then only walking can take place. Ears are there, but the activity of hearing should take place. So, not only do we require the organs, we require the corresponding activity of organ. Every organ performs a specific activity. So, vida pratak cheshtaha. So, adhishthanam, the body. Then karta, the agent of action. Karanam, the means of action. Not only means, but the various activities of means. And fifth is Daivam Chaivatra Panchanam. Daivam. Now this is something new to us. Daivam means the presiding deity. Now this is something that we know only from the scriptures. I mentioned this earlier. That the act of speaking can take place when I enjoy the grace of the Devata or deity who presides over the act of speaking. So we are told that fire god is the presiding deity of the organ of speech. Only when I enjoy the grace of the fire god that the act of speaking can take place. Now this you can call superstition, but then this is what the scriptures tell us. That no activity is possible unless there is an involvement at all three levels. Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva. Adhyatma, the speaker. Adhibhuta, the word that has spoken. Adhidaiva, the presiding deity by whose grace the speaking takes place, and presiding deity by whose grace hearing takes place. Hearing also may not take place if the grace of the presiding deity is not there. And this makes sense, but this is what, so these are these five entities together perform action. Why is it said? Lord Krishna explains why it is said this way. So next verse is Tatraivam sati kartaram Atmanam kevalam tuyah Pashyatya krita buddhitvat Nasa pashyati durmatihi. Tatra evam sati, you will note that one entity is missing from this list. The five entities that perform action, the body, the sense organs, the agent, the Devata and various activities. One entity is missing, something is conspicuous for its absence. Who is that? Atma. See, Atma is not mentioned here. Atma is not involved in performing the action. Atma means the true nature of you and I. Who are we? Atma, consciousness, Satchidananda. So Satchit Ananda, the existence, the intelligence, the wholeness that you and I are, Atma, does not participate in performance of any action. It is true that without Atma, no action can take place. But Atma as such does not participate. Meaning that Atma, the self, the consciousness, is the one in whose presence the actions take place, in whose presence all these five entities become enlivened. The fact that body is alive, the sense organs are alive, the mind is alive, the chest activities are there, all of these presupposes, require that there is something, someone that enlivens all of this. Because by nature this body is inert, it's not a live entity. Because we know that when the breath, prana departs, this body just becomes inert, becomes lifeless. So by itself the body and everything is only insentient. Body is also insentient, sense organs, mind, all of these are by nature insentient. But they all act as though they are sentient entities because something or somebody provides them sentiency. That is Atma, the self. Like a fan, by itself is motionless. Fan by itself is not moving. It is something that in fact imparts the motion of the fan, enlivens the fan, by which the fan starts moving or rotating. The electricity, you don't see the electricity. You know very well that electricity does not rotate. Electricity does not turn. In presence of electricity, the fan rotates. Similarly, in presence of consciousness or Atma, all these five entities become enlivened and they perform their activities. Atma does not need to do anything for the action to perform. All that is necessary is the presence of the self. This is a very important principle. The only thing that is conscious in the universe is the self. Everything else is unconscious and inert. Although the doctors may think and scientists may think that this body is conscious and mind is conscious, the body, mind, sense, all of these are unconscious. Meaning they are lifeless by themselves. And that the sentiency that we see in the body, or sense organs or the mind, is because it is imparted to them. The sentiency is imparted to the mind, to the sense organs, to the body by the self. Just as the glow in the bulb is imparted to the bulb by electricity, the filament by itself doesn't glow. It is electricity that imparts glow, and that's how the bulb glows. Electricity that imparts energy or motion to the fan, that's how the fan moves. And so it is the self, the consciousness, that enlivens this body, mind, sense complex. That's how it becomes enlivened, and that's how all actions are performed. Consciousness does not have to perform the action. All that is necessary is the presence of consciousness. But actions are performed by the body, by the sense organs, by the doer. That includes mind also. This is a secret rahasyam that Lord Krishna is revealing here, the anatomy of karma. And this is what we have to know, who performs actions. Even when the actions are being performed just as right now, the act of speaking is taking place supposedly on my part, and I may think that I am the speaker, I am speaking, or the act of listening is taking place on your part, and you may think that you are listening, Atma is listening. The fact is that the act of speaking takes place in presence of Atma. The act of listening takes place in presence of Atma. Every activity that you see in the universe, including the earth rotating around the sun around, everything is in motion constantly. All these crazy emotions and activities taking place around the universe is all because of the presence of consciousness. Meaning that consciousness does not only enliven this one body or this, it enlivens the entire universe. And that's how the universe is functioning active. In presence of the self, in presence of consciousness. And that's what you and I are. I am not the body. Eyes I am not. Eyes are the two instruments with which I see. Is it not so? The eyes and ears, all organs of perception, are the organs with which I perform various acts of perception. The speech and hands and legs are organs of action, which I perform various actions. Am I not different from them? Isn't a carpenter different from the tools with which he performs various actions? They are all tools. The carpenter opens his toolbox in the morning, works for the whole day, closes the toolbox. So also we open the toolbox in the morning when we wake up. All the organs of perception, action, all of them are opened up, and at night we all put them in the box. No perception, no action, no thinking, nothing. Everything is in the toolbox. Then I am there. When all these fellows are not there in the sleep, I am still there. That shows that I don't need them, I am independent of them. They need me, they cannot be without me. I am without them. Tatrevam sadi atmanam kartaram atmanam kevam. In this being the case, that Atma is just the presence, I is just the presence, I means Atma is I. Meaning the truth of myself and yourself, I. Because I call myself I, and what do you call yourself? I. Now how many eyes are there? The I, not EY, the I. How many eyes are there? Oh Swami, as many people as there are? No. Because that I, what is the qualification of the I? What's the attribute of the I? How long it is? How wide it is? How heavy it is? Does it have any? It is attributeless. All length and weight, all belongs to the body, mind, sense complex. The self is without any attributes at all. Just like space, so one space in this part, second space in this part, they may look like two different part spaces, but there is nothing to distinguish one space from the other because space has no qualification. Nothing that this tube light, the fluorescent light, its light is different. Light is one because one light cannot distinguish from the other light because light is no distinction. So also consciousness has no distinction. The consciousness that you are is the consciousness that I am, is the consciousness that there is, the universal self. That is who you and I are. That in presence of I, all actions take place. Tatrevam, that being the case, Atmanam kevalam tuyaha, Atma is kevalam, or absolute self, one non-dual. Things that I am doing, say, I think that I am doing, I am speaking, I am hearing. Nasapashyati, he does not see. Tatrevam sakartaram atman Kevalam Tviyaha. Atma is Kevala, absolute, non-dual, attributeless consciousness, in presence of which everything takes place, and to think that I am speaking, I am hearing, I am doing, is because of unrefined intellect, because of ignorance. So what's the big deal, Swamiji? That is the cause of all my problems. Atma doesn't have a problem, speaker has a problem. Atma has no, hearer has a problem. When any problem is there, when any unhappiness, sorrow, sadness is there, you can ask this question, who is sad? Mother is sad because son said something. Wife is sad because husband did something. Husband is sad because wife did something or did not do something, whatever. We'll find that this sadness can be traced to husband or wife or son or daughter or man, woman, some individual. Meaning that when I identify and call myself individual, that is when I become the recipient of sadness. Otherwise, Atma is ever free. As I am, sadness cannot touch me. The actor is putting on the costume of beggar. Everything happens at the level of costume. When he is performing act of a beggar and sitting on the sidewalk, people do all kinds of things to him. Some people are generous, some people are cruel, some people are indifferent. All this is at the level of the costume, the level of play. It does not touch the actor, should not touch the actor. He is free. Even while begging, he is free. While begging, he does not beg. While weeping, he does not weep. By singing, why he doesn't sing? Isn't it an amazing thing? So also while talking, I do not talk. While hearing, I do not hear. While speaking, while thinking, I do not think. In my presence, everything takes place. This is the knowledge that Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta imparts about our true nature. And when we do not know, then we take ourselves to be a doer, enjoyer, speaker, thinker, and suffer. Durmatihi na pashyati. He is thinking in distorted, therefore he does not see himself truly as he is. So while talking about sannyasa, Lord Krishna talks about the ultimate sannyasa, which is the nature of knowledge, will continue tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeri Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.